Look, man, sometimes the best thing we can do in life is, simply just be quiet and listen, because most of the time growth, it doesn't come from speaking. It comes from listening. It comes from learning, whether that be listening to God, whether that be listening to, wise people, listening to what life is trying to teach you or listening to what life is trying to tell you, and just learning from the people around us or learning from what God is trying to tell us, learning from what life is trying to tell us. It's time that we be quiet and we just listen. Like I've always said, bro, God says in the Bible to be still and know that I am God. Be still and be quiet and know that I am God. Know that He's working behind the scenes. Know that He is, putting you in the places you need to be. Sometimes we talk so much that, we start to miss what God is trying to tell us. We start to miss what God is, saying to us and, wants us to learn. Sometimes life gets loud, whether that be from other opinions, whether that be from social media, whether that be from distractions. But 9 times out of 10, bro, clarity comes in silence. Mental clarity, physical clarity, any type of clarity comes in silence. And I kind of talked about this in, one of my last videos about, going ghost to being private and being isolated. Like, you learn more when you're isolated. You learn more when you're in silence, when you're still, when you're trusting what God is doing for you, when you're trusting what God's plan is for you. Like, you learn more like that. You learn more when you just listen and simply don't say anything. Like, we need to be quiet and we need to listen and we need to learn, because listening is a strength. It's not a weakness. Sometimes people think if they don't get their words in or whatever, or if they don't say what's on their mind, like they're weak. But it takes maturity to sit in a moment or in a conversation without saying anything, without reacting. It takes maturity to do that. It takes becoming the best version of yourself to do that. Sometimes we simply just need to be quiet. Sometimes your next breakthrough isn't about what you say or isn't about what you post or isn't about what you tell your friends or the people around you, but it's about what you're willing to learn, what you're willing to listen to, what you're willing to hear. That's when your breakthrough happens. When you just be quiet and you listen, when you just be quiet and you learn, because God speaks in the quiet. God speaks when you're quiet. God speaks when you're not talking all the time. You're just sitting there and listening to Him. Prayer isn't just about talking. It's about listening. It's about learning. It's about listening what God has to say. And I had to learn this too, because like in my prayer, I feel like I was always talking to God for something or asking God for something. I wasn't really, listening to what He was telling me. I was just talking the whole time. I started to just allow time for God to talk in my prayer, if that makes sense. Like, there was times where I just sit quiet and just try to listen to what God is telling me, or try to listen to what God is trying to teach me. Like, that's needed. Prayer isn't just about talking to God. It's about listening. It's about listening what He's trying to tell you. It's about learning from what He's trying to tell you. You gotta listen. You gotta be quiet sometimes and just listen to what God is telling you. Like, simple as that. Like, next time you pray, bro, like, just sit in the quiet for a minute and just see what God is trying to tell you. See if you can hear God. See if you can learn something from God that day or that night whenever you pray. Like, just sitting quiet, I promise you, like, it changes a lot. Like, I'm telling you right now. And you also don't got to respond to everything, bro. Like, you don't need to defend yourself. You don't need to clap back. You don't got to explain yourself to everybody. You don't got to prove your point all the time. You don't. Because most of the times, bro, wisdom and, winning that argument or whatever is often silence, not saying a word. Like, you don't got to respond to everybody, bro. Like I've always told y'all, people's opinions don't matter. People's thoughts or words about you don't matter. So you don't got to defend yourself. You don't got to clap back to these people. You don't got to prove your point. Just be silent. Listen to what they saying. Let them talk. Let them do all the talking, because you know that those words ain't true. You know that those words don't mean nothing. Just listen. Just be quiet. Like, wisdom sounds like silence sometimes. Sometimes being the bigger person is being silent. Sometimes being the best version of yourself is being silent. Like, simple as that. Like, sometimes you literally just don't need to talk. You just need to listen and be silent. Like, wisdom often sounds like silence. And sometimes, or all the time, you need to listen to learn. Not just to reply. You need to listen to learn, whether that be in relationships, friendships, growth. Like, actually listening to what somebody says or what somebody's telling you opens more doors than talking ever could. Like it opens way more doors. You start to learn more. You don't always got to have your word. You don't always got to put in a word here and there. Like, just listen. Listen and learn from what people are telling you. Listen and learn from what literally your teacher may be telling you, or what your friend, what somebody who's already did what you're trying to do may be telling you. Like, you don't always got to get your word in. Just listen, bro. Just listen. Because, you know, God won't grow what pride won't let in. I'm gonna say that again. God won't grow what pride won't let in. If you don't let something in, if you don't listen to what something's trying to, or somebody's trying to tell you, like, God can't grow that thing. God won't grow that thing because you didn't even have enough pride to let them speak to you. You didn't even have enough pride to listen to what they're telling you. So it's not going to grow. It doesn't have a chance to grow because you didn't even let it in. So just listen, bro. Like, let in and learn from what people are trying to tell you. You don't always got to talk. Just be quiet and listen. The most powerful thing you can do sometimes is literally just being quiet, literally just listening. Because in the silence, in the isolation, in the private, God speaks. Wisdom flows and growth and breakthroughs start to begin. These things happen in the quiet, in the silence, in the private. That's when things and growth starts to happen. That's when breakthrough starts to happen. That's when God starts to speak to you. That's when wisdom starts to flow in the silence. That'll be all for this video, man. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. If you like this video, go hit that sub button. We're on the way to 300 subs. Appreciate y'all. I love y'all. And I'll see y'all in the next one.